Welcome to Talk Blaze. Today, we unravel the story of a man whose ideas shaped our understanding of the universe. A single falling apple changed everything. But the truth is far more incredible. Stay with us till the end as we dive into the life of Isaac Newton. Have you ever wondered what keeps you on the ground? What makes the planets move? What invisible force rules the universe? For centuries, people had ideas, but one man gave us the answers. This is the story of Isaac Newton. In 1642, on a cold Christmas day, a frail baby was born in Woolsthorpe, England. Isaac Newton, his father had died before he was born, and his mother soon left him behind. He grew up quiet, lonely, and lost in books. At school, Newton was no prodigy. He was often bullied, until one day he fought back. Not with fists, but with brilliance. He built machines, studied the stars, and soon his genius became undeniable. At Cambridge University, Newton arrived in a world still ruled by Aristotle's ancient ideas. But he saw beyond them. Then in 1665, the Great Plague struck, shutting down universities. Newton returned home, 2 years in isolation, and in that solitude he changed science forever. The story of the fallen apple is one of the most famous in history. But was it really the moment that changed everything? Newton never claimed the apple hit his head, but he did say it made him think. As he watched it fall, a question formed. Why do objects always fall straight down? Why not sideways or upward? Then it struck him. What if the same force pulling the apple down was also pulling the moon? What if an invisible force stretched across space, holding everything together? That force was gravity. But gravity was just the beginning. Newton's mind was overflowing with questions. How do objects move? What keeps planets in their orbits? What if light isn't what we think it is? First, he tackled light. For centuries, people believed light was pure and colorless, but Newton's experiments shattered that idea. Using a prism, he discovered that white light was actually a combination of colors: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. Next, he needed a new kind of math, one that could measure change in motion. So, he invented calculus. Yes, the entire branch of mathematics we use today. Newton created it to describe the universe. But his greatest achievement, the 3 laws of motion. An object stays still or keeps moving unless something stops it. Force equals mass times acceleration. In simple terms, more force, more movement. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. With these laws, Newton explained how everything moves, from a falling rock to a speeding cannonball, from an apple on Earth to planets in space. In 1687, he put everything together in his groundbreaking book, Principia Mathematica. It became one of the most important books in history. Newton's laws didn't just explain movement, they gave humanity control over it. Rockets, cars, satellites, everything we use today follows his laws. But success came with a price. Newton had rivals, big ones. One was Robert Hooke, a scientist famous for his work with microscopes. Hooke believed he had already discovered some of Newton's ideas. The two clashed fiercely. Another was Gottfried Leibniz, who had also developed calculus around the same time. Who invented it first? A bitter feud erupted, lasting for decades. Despite the drama, Newton's genius remained unmatched. His discoveries shaped the world, and continue to do so today. Because Newton didn't just see an apple fall, he saw the forces that rule the cosmos. Isaac Newton had uncovered the laws that govern the universe, but his journey didn't end there. His discoveries had shaken the scientific world, but not everyone was ready to accept them. One of Newton's fiercest rivals was Robert Hooke, a brilliant yet controversial scientist. Hooke believed he had played a role in the discovery of gravity and openly challenged Newton's work. He accused Newton of stealing ideas, and their feud became one of the most bitter in scientific history. Newton, deeply offended, erased Hooke's contributions from later editions of his work. But Newton's most famous intellectual battle was with Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz. Both men had developed calculus independently, but when Newton claimed he had discovered it first, the conflict turned ugly. The Royal Society, of which Newton was a leading member, conducted an investigation. Unsurprisingly, they sided with Newton. This public humiliation ruined Leibniz's reputation, and he died before he could restore his name. Newton, however, was just getting started. In 1696, he took an unexpected turn. He left the world of pure science and entered the world of money and power. He became the warden of the Royal Mint, responsible for England's currency. At the time, counterfeit money was a huge problem, and Newton tackled it with the same precision he used in science. He personally led investigations, tracked down counterfeiters, and even had criminals executed. His methods were ruthless, but they worked. Newton cleaned up England's economy. By 1703, Newton had reached the peak of his influence. He became the president of the Royal Society, the most prestigious scientific institution in the world. His word was law in the world of science. Yet, despite his power, Newton's later years were marked by obsession and secrecy. He became deeply interested in alchemy, the ancient pursuit of turning metals into gold. He wrote over 1 million words on the subject, convinced that hidden knowledge lay beyond the limits of science. Some say Newton's mind, once focused on pure logic, was now chasing myths and mysteries. By the time he passed away in 1727, Newton had changed science, mathematics, and the world itself. He had uncovered the laws that shape reality, redefined our understanding of motion, and given us the tools to explore the universe. Today, every rocket launched, every bridge built, every equation solved, they all follow the rules Newton discovered. Because Newton didn't just explain the universe, he gave us the power to understand it. As Newton grew older, his mind, once fixated on science, drifted toward the unknown. He became obsessed with alchemy, hidden codes in the Bible, and secret laws of the universe. Some dismissed these pursuits as the ramblings of an aging genius. But Newton believed there was more to reality than what science had uncovered. Despite his growing isolation, his reputation remained untouchable. He was knighted in 1705, becoming Sir Isaac Newton, the first scientist to receive such an honor. He lived comfortably, yet he never married, never had children, and left behind only his work. On March 31st, 1727, at the age of 84, Newton passed away in his sleep. He was buried with the highest honors in Westminster Abbey, among kings and queens, a testament to his status as one of history's greatest minds. Centuries after his death, Newton's influence is everywhere. His laws of motion guide rockets into space, his calculus powers modern technology, and his theory of gravity helps us understand black holes and the expanding universe. Without Newton, there would be no space exploration, no satellites, no modern physics. His ideas didn't just explain the world, they reshaped it. Even Einstein, who later refined our understanding of gravity, called Newton a giant on whose shoulders all scientists stand. From the smallest atoms to the largest galaxies, Newton's discoveries still govern reality itself, because he didn't just change science, he changed everything.